that's right. Because if a girl's spending all of her time worrying about the money she doesn't have...
Sometimes I'm in bed at night, and I think that he's gone.
I see a man in your life.
What, only one?
Package? Oh, it's a little something to help us save money.
What am I doing here? What happened? Well, I suddenly felt such a fool.
Well, I wanted to drive you home. Are you all right?
All right, Shep, I grant you this place may be different, but must it be invisible?
In the annals of Hollywood's storied history, a chapter often overlooked but undeniably significant revolves around the taboo of interracial relationships, particularly those involving white actresses and their black lovers. Betty White, Kim Novak, Mae West, Inger Stevens, and Marilyn Monroe, luminaries of old Hollywood, found themselves entangled in a clandestine web of love and discrimination that transcended the silver screen. During an era when racial segregation was deeply ingrained in society, the entertainment industry mirrored the prevailing biases. Hollywood, often hailed as the epitome of glamour and dreams, was not immune to the pervasive racism that plagued the United States. The love affairs between these white actresses and black men were not merely romantic entanglements. They became subversive acts, challenging the racial norms of the time. Betty White, celebrated for her comedic genius, faced the harsh realities of societal prejudice when her love interests were deemed unacceptable by the powers that be. Kim Novak, the epitome of Hollywood elegance, found herself entangled in a web of secrecy as she navigated a relationship that threatened her career. Mae West, a trailblazer known for her provocative wit, encountered fierce resistance as she sought companionship beyond the racial boundaries dictated by Hollywood. Inger Stevens and Marilyn Monroe, icons of their time, struggled against the oppressive norms that sought to dictate whom they could and could not love. These women, daring to defy the racial constraints of their era, often resorted to covert measures to protect their relationships. Some went as far as buying apartments for their black lovers to shield them from the prying eyes of a judgmental society. Their stories shed light on a Hollywood that was not only a stage for glitz and glamour, but also a reflection of the racial prejudices that marked an era. As we delve into the archives of Hollywood's past, it becomes evident that the romantic narratives of these white actresses and their black lovers were tragically suppressed, relegated to the shadows, by a society unwilling to accept love without boundaries. The tales of these forbidden relationships serve as poignant reminders of the struggles against racism in a bygone era, illustrating that even in the pursuit of love, some battles are fought behind closed doors. Hollywood, often seen as the epitome of glitz and glamour, has an unsettling history marred by systemic racism. The entertainment industry, known for its influence in shaping societal perceptions, has perpetuated discriminatory practices that limited opportunities for minority performers and reinforced harmful stereotypes. A comprehensive examination of Hollywood's historical racism reveals a troubling pattern of exclusion, marginalization, and the perpetuation of racial biases. The early years of Hollywood, dating back to the late 19th and early 20th centuries, were marked by the inception of the film industry. Unfortunately, this period coincided with a time of pervasive racial prejudices in the United States. As the film industry began to take shape, racial stereotyping became a prevalent theme in storytelling. African American and other minority characters were often portrayed using offensive stereotypes, reinforcing harmful biases that existed in society. During the silent film era, racial stereotypes reached new heights with the proliferation of blackface minstrelsy. White actors would darken their skin using makeup to portray caricatured versions of African American characters, perpetuating degrading and harmful images. This practice not only marginalized black performers, but also contributed to the normalization of racial prejudice within the industry. In the 1930s, the Hays Code was implemented in Hollywood as a set of industry guidelines for self-censorship. While the code aimed to regulate content in films, it also had a profound impact on perpetuating racial biases. The code reinforced racial segregation by limiting or outright prohibiting portrayals of interracial relationships and presenting minority characters in subservient roles. Hollywood's adherence to these guidelines further marginalized minority communities and hindered the potential for authentic representation. Throughout the mid-20th century, Black performers faced significant challenges in Hollywood. Limited opportunities, stereotypical roles, and discriminatory casting practices were commonplace. The industry often typecast Black actors into roles that perpetuated racial stereotypes, contributing to a narrow and distorted portrayal of the Black experience. This systemic marginalization hindered the careers of talented Black performers and perpetuated a cycle of underrepresentation. The era of racial segregation in the United States was reflected in Hollywood's practices. The separate but equal doctrine extended to the film industry, with theaters segregating audiences based on race. Black actors struggled to find roles in mainstream productions, and when they did, they were often relegated to supporting or stereotyped characters. This segregation within the industry mirrored the broader societal divisions, perpetuating racial inequality. As we delve into this list-like script of forbidden love, we uncover the poignant stories of women who defied the racial norms of their time, challenging the deeply ingrained prejudices that stained the golden age of Hollywood. Betty White. Betty White, an iconic figure in the entertainment industry, was not only known for her unparalleled wit and humor, but also for her staunch advocacy for societal change. One of the remarkable aspects of her career was her stand against Hollywood norms, particularly in addressing racial issues and challenging the prevailing attitudes towards interracial relationships. In this detailed exploration, we will delve into Betty White's unique perspective, the challenges she faced, and the impact of her advocacy on the entertainment industry. Betty White's career spanned several decades, starting in the early days of television and continuing well into the 21st century. She emerged as a pioneer, breaking through gender norms by becoming the first woman to produce a sitcom and later the first woman to receive a Daytime Emmy Award. Despite being a trailblazer in her own right, White did not limit her activism to gender-related issues. She was equally passionate about addressing racial disparities and promoting inclusivity in Hollywood. During the mid-20th century, Hollywood was marked by systemic racism, with limited opportunities for actors and creators of color. Betty White, however, was an advocate for change. In interviews and public appearances, she consistently spoke out against racial discrimination and the industry's reluctance to embrace diversity. White recognized the power of television in shaping public opinion and sought to use her platform to challenge the status quo. As a cast member of The Mary Tyler Moore Show in the 1970s, she was vocal about the need for more inclusive storytelling. Her efforts contributed to a gradual shift in attitudes within the industry, with networks slowly beginning to recognize the importance of diverse representation on screen. One of the most groundbreaking aspects of Betty White's advocacy was her stance on interracial relationships, a topic that remained largely taboo in Hollywood during her early years. White, however, was an advocate for authentic storytelling that reflected the realities of society. She believed that television had the potential to break down barriers and challenge societal norms. White's commitment to inclusivity was evident in her support for storylines featuring interracial relationships. At a time when many networks were hesitant to showcase such narratives, she actively encouraged writers and producers to explore these themes. Her involvement in projects that addressed interracial relationships helped pave the way for more diverse storytelling in the years that followed. Betty White's outspoken stance on racial issues and support for diverse storytelling was not without its challenges. In an era where conformity often equated to success, White faced resistance from some quarters within the industry. Networks and advertisers were cautious about alienating audiences, fearing that addressing sensitive issues, such as race, might result in backlash. Despite the challenges, Betty White remained steadfast in her commitment to advocating for change. She faced criticism from those who believed that the entertainment industry should remain apolitical. However, White saw her role as more than just an entertainer. She viewed herself as a catalyst for positive change. Betty White's advocacy for racial equality and her support for interracial relationships had a lasting impact on the entertainment industry. As more creators and executives began to recognize the importance of diversity, the landscape of television and film started to shift. White's influence extended beyond her own projects. By openly discussing and challenging the prevailing norms, she inspired others within the industry to do the same. Her commitment to inclusivity contributed to a more diverse and representative portrayal of society on screen, helping to break down barriers and promote understanding among audiences. Betty White's legacy as a trailblazer in Hollywood continues to inspire actors, creators, and advocates for social change. Her fearless approach to addressing racial issues and promoting inclusivity laid the groundwork for future generations to push boundaries and challenge established norms. In the contemporary landscape of entertainment, conversations around diversity, representation, and inclusion have gained momentum. Betty White's contributions serve as a reminder that change is possible, even in industries with deeply ingrained norms and practices. Her legacy encourages ongoing dialogue about the importance of authentic storytelling and the need for diverse voices to be heard. Betty White's stand against Hollywood norms, particularly in addressing racial issues and advocating for diverse representation, remains a crucial chapter in the history of the entertainment industry. Her commitment to challenging societal norms, supporting interracial relationships on screen, and navigating the challenges of a predominantly homogeneous industry demonstrates the power of influential figures to shape positive change. Reflecting on Betty White's legacy, it is essential to recognize the progress that has been made while acknowledging the work that still lies ahead. The entertainment industry continues to grapple with issues of representation and inclusivity, making Betty White's fearless advocacy a timeless and relevant example for those seeking to create a more equitable and diverse future in Hollywood and beyond. Kim Novak, known for her roles in classics like Vertigo and Bell, Book and Candle, was captivated by the magnetic charm of Sammy Davis Jr., a renowned entertainer, singer, and dancer. The Hollywood scene of the 1950s was steeped in racial tensions and social expectations, making interracial relationships a taboo subject. Novak's attraction to Davis was not only a clash of personal desires, but a confrontation with the prevailing norms of a conservative society. Their paths crossed in the early 1950s, a time when Davis was making waves with his performances and Novak was rising as a leading lady in Hollywood. The chemistry between them was undeniable, yet the circumstances dictated that their connection remained a well-guarded secret. Novak's friends and confidants were aware of her feelings for Davis, but the public remained blissfully ignorant. The 1950s were marked by a stringent adherence to societal norms, especially when it came to matters of love and relationships. Interracial relationships faced harsh scrutiny, with miscegenation laws still prevalent in various parts of the United States. Novak, aware of the potential backlash and damage to her career, chose to keep her feelings for Davis concealed. The pressure to conform to societal expectations was intense, and Novak found herself navigating a delicate balance between her personal desires and the need to maintain a pristine public image. The fear of career repercussions and public condemnation led her to wear a mask of secrecy, shielding her forbidden love from the prying eyes of the media. While Novak and Davis managed to keep their relationship under wraps, the strain of the secret took its toll on Novak's career. The film industry of the 1950s was not ready to embrace unconventional relationships, especially those that defied racial boundaries. Studios were keen on projecting a certain image for their stars, and any deviation from the accepted norm could result in career stagnation or even termination. Novak's internal conflict and the constant fear of exposure affected her professional choices. Roles that could potentially cast her in a controversial light were avoided, leading to a more conservative selection of projects. The vibrant and bold actress, who could have explored a myriad of roles, found herself confined within the limitations set by societal expectations. In an era where the personal lives of Hollywood stars were meticulously curated to fit a particular narrative, the revelation of Novak's forbidden love affair with Sammy Davis Jr. would have been a seismic shock to the public. The contrast between the characters they portrayed on screen and their real-life connection would have shattered the carefully constructed illusion that Hollywood had built around its stars. The consequences of such a revelation were not lost on Novak. The potential backlash from both the industry and the audience could have jeopardized her standing as a leading lady. The fear of losing public favor and the resulting impact on her career forced Novak to continue wearing the mask of secrecy, living a double life that took an emotional toll on her well-being. Despite the societal pressures and career constraints, Novak and Davis maintained a connection that endured in the shadows. Their love, though unspoken and hidden, became a refugee from the harsh realities of the outside world. Letters, clandestine meetings, and stolen moments allowed them to nurture their bond away from the prying eyes of the public and the judgmental gaze of society. The enduring nature of their love speaks to the strength of their connection as they navigated the complexities of an era that sought to stifle unconventional relationships. While the societal pressures ultimately forced them to keep their love hidden, the impact of their forbidden romance left an indelible mark on both Novak and Davis. As time marched on, the societal norms that once confined Novak and Davis began to evolve. The civil rights movement challenged racial prejudices, and Hollywood gradually became more accepting of diverse relationships. However, the scars of the past lingered, and the impact of Novak's forbidden love with Davis continued to shape her legacy. Novak's career, while successful, bore the imprint of the choices she made in the face of societal pressures. Her filmography, marked by a certain cautiousness, reflected the sacrifices she had to make to conform to the expectations of the time. The hidden love affair with Davis became a poignant chapter in the narrative of her life, showcasing the personal toll exacted by societal constraints. Kim Novak's forbidden love with Sammy Davis Jr. is a poignant chapter in the annals of Hollywood history. The secret crush, the societal pressures, and the impact on Novak's career and public perception reveal the intricate dance between personal desires and societal expectations in the golden age of cinema. As we reflect on this forbidden love, we gain a deeper understanding of the challenges faced by those who dared to defy the norms of their time and the enduring legacy of choices made in the pursuit of love and acceptance. Mae West. Mae West, the iconic actress and S-symbol of the early 20th century, was no stranger to scandal and controversy. However, one of the most intriguing rumors surrounding her involves the alleged purchase of an apartment building to facilitate her relationship with a black lover. In delving into this rumor, it is essential to not only examine the historical context of interracial relationships during West's era, but also to analyze West's position in challenging societal norms. The rumors surrounding Mae West's alleged purchase of an apartment building to support her relationship with a black lover have been the subject of much speculation and gossip. While the details remain murky, the story suggests that West went to great lengths to provide a safe and discreet space for her interracial romance. It's important to note that during the early to mid-20th century, interracial relationships were heavily stigmatized in the United States. Miscegenation laws were in place in many states, prohibiting marriages and relationships between people of different races. The societal backlash against interracial couples was palpable, and such relationships were often met with discrimination, prejudice, and even violence. Mae West was known for her provocative and daring persona, both on and off the screen. At a time when the film industry and society were tightly bound by conservative values, West's outspokenness and boldness made her a trailblazer in challenging societal norms. West's career reached its peak during the 1930s, a period marked by economic depression and widespread social conservatism. Her films, such as She Done Him Wrong, 1933, and I'm No Angel, 1933, pushed the boundaries of on-screen-ess, challenging traditional gender roles and introducing a level of sensuality that was previously unheard of in mainstream cinema. If the rumors surrounding Mae West's alleged purchase for love are to be believed, it sheds light on a different aspect of her defiance against societal norms, her willingness to challenge racial taboos. During the early 20th century, interracial relationships were not only frowned upon, but were also often considered illegal in various parts of the United States. If West did indeed engage in a romantic relationship with a black partner and took steps to secure a private space for their connection, it would have been a groundbreaking move during an era when such relationships were heavily stigmatized. The alleged purchase could be seen as an act of rebellion against the prevailing racial prejudices and discriminatory practices. Mae West's alleged actions, if true, would have carried significant societal implications. By openly defying the norms of her time, she would have contributed to the gradual erosion of racial barriers in relationships, challenging the deeply ingrained racism that permeated American society during the early to mid-20th century. Interracial relationships were not only discouraged, but were actively suppressed through legal and social means. The alleged purchase of an apartment building to facilitate such a relationship would have been a radical act of resistance against these oppressive norms, signaling West's commitment to love and personal freedom, regardless of societal prejudices. It is crucial to consider the intersectionality of Mae West's alleged actions, particularly in the context of race and gender. West, as a white woman engaging in a romantic relationship with a black partner, would have faced a unique set of challenges. The societal expectations placed on women's behavior and relationships were stringent, and West's deviation from these norms would have intensified the scrutiny she faced. In challenging racial norms, West simultaneously defied gender expectations, embodying a form of double rebellion against the oppressive constraints imposed on both women and people of color. Her alleged actions would have been a testament to her courage and determination to live authentically, despite the societal barriers that sought to confine her within prescribed roles. The media's portrayal of Mae West and her alleged interracial relationship would have played a pivotal role in shaping public opinion. During the 1930s, the press had considerable influence in shaping societal attitudes, and Hollywood stars were often scrutinized for their personal lives as much as their on-screen performances. If the media chose to sensationalize West's alleged actions, it could have either propelled her further into the realm of controversy or served as a catalyst for a more open discussion on racial and gender relations. The public's reaction, however, would likely have been divided, with conservative factions condemning West's choices while progressive voices celebrated her as a trailblazer. While the rumors surrounding Mae West's alleged purchase for love remain speculative, her legacy as a trailblazer in challenging societal norms is indisputable. Throughout her career, West confronted the constraints of her time, using her wit, charm, and charisma to subvert traditional gender roles and push the boundaries of on-screen sensuality. If the allegations of her interracial relationship are confirmed, it would further solidify West's place in history as a pioneer who not only challenged gender norms, but also confronted the deeply entrenched racism of her era. Her actions, whether real or perceived, would have contributed to the slow but steady progress toward dismantling racial and gender-based barriers in relationships. Mae West's alleged purchase for love stands as a fascinating chapter in the actress's storied life. While the details remain shrouded in mystery, the rumors surrounding her actions offer a glimpse into a time when interracial relationships were taboo and societal norms were rigidly enforced. If true, West's alleged defiance against racial and gender norms would have marked a pivotal moment in her career and contributed to the gradual transformation of societal attitudes. Whether as a myth or a historical fact, Mae West's alleged purchase for love adds another layer to her legacy as a cultural icon and a maverick who fearlessly challenged the status quo. As society continues to grapple with issues of race, gender, and love, West's alleged actions serve as a reminder of the power individuals hold to challenge and reshape the norms that confine them. Inger Stevens. Inger Stevens, born Inger Stensland on October 18, 1934, in Stockholm, Sweden, was a talented actress who made her mark in Hollywood during the 1950s and 1960s. Ike Jones, born on June 23, 1929, in Danville, Illinois, was a pioneering African-American film producer and director. Their love story and interracial relationship emerged at a time when such unions were often met with societal challenges and prejudice. This article delves into the relationship between Inger Stevens and Ike Jones, exploring its impact on their personal and professional lives, as well as the public reactions and challenges they faced. Inger Stevens began her acting career in Sweden before making her way to Hollywood in the mid-1950s. Her talent and charisma quickly gained attention, leading to roles in films like Man on Fire, 1957, and The World, the Flesh, and the Devil, 1959. Stevens' success extended to television, where she starred in popular series such as The Twilight Zone and The Alfred Hitchcock Hour. Ike Jones, on the other hand, started his career in the entertainment industry as a jazz pianist before transitioning to film production and direction. His notable works include producing the documentary Cry of Jazz, 1959, and directing the film The Love-Ins, 1967. Jones was a trailblazer for African Americans in the film industry, breaking barriers and challenging stereotypes. Inger Stevens and Ike Jones' paths crossed during a time when interracial relationships were still taboo in many parts of the United States. Despite the prevailing societal norms, the couple developed a deep connection that transcended racial boundaries. Their love story is a testament to the power of genuine affection and the ability to overcome societal prejudices. The couple kept their relationship private initially, given the potential backlash they could face from a society that was not yet fully accepting of interracial couples. However, as their connection strengthened, they eventually decided to embrace their love publicly. The 1960s was a tumultuous period in American history, marked by the civil rights movement and significant social upheaval. In the midst of this cultural shift, Inger Stevens and Ike Jones faced their fair share of challenges as an interracial couple. Their relationship was a groundbreaking and bold statement, challenging the deeply ingrained racial prejudices of the time. The public's reaction to Inger Stevens and Ike Jones' relationship was mixed. While some people applauded their courage and commitment to love beyond racial boundaries, others vehemently opposed their union. Interracial marriages were still illegal in several states during this era, and societal attitudes often mirrored these discriminatory laws. In the public eye, Stevens and Jones encountered criticism and bigotry from individuals who were unable or unwilling to accept their relationship. The couple became the target of racist comments and threats, highlighting the deep-seated racism prevalent in society. Despite the challenges, the couple persevered, determined to live their lives authentically. For Inger Stevens and Ike Jones, navigating an interracial relationship also had implications for their professional lives. Hollywood, in particular, was a complex landscape where image and public perception played significant roles in shaping an artist's career. Stevens, known for her roles in both film and television, faced potential backlash from producers and studios that might have been concerned about the impact her interracial relationship could have on her public image. However, she continued to secure roles in various projects, demonstrating a resilience that mirrored her personal strength. Ike Jones, as a pioneering African-American film producer and director, faced his own set of challenges in an industry that was still grappling with racial inequality. His commitment to breaking barriers and telling diverse stories through film was both admirable and impactful, and his relationship with Stevens added another layer of complexity to his public persona. The couple's careers continued to flourish despite the challenges they faced. Their commitment to their craft and each other served as a powerful message, challenging the status quo and contributing to the slow but steady change in societal attitudes towards interracial relationships. Inger Stevens and Ike Jones's love story left an indelible mark on the history of interracial relationships in Hollywood. Their bravery in facing societal prejudice paved the way for future generations of interracial couples, contributing to the gradual dismantling of discriminatory norms. While Stevens's life was tragically cut short in 1970, when she passed away at the age of 35, her legacy endures through her impactful contributions to film and television. Ike Jones continued to make strides in the film industry, leaving a lasting imprint on the landscape of African-American cinema. In retrospect, their love story serves as a poignant reminder of the challenges faced by those who dared to defy societal norms. In a time when love knows no color, the narrative of Inger Stevens and Ike Jones remains an inspirational tale of resilience, love, and the enduring power of breaking down racial barriers. Inger Stevens and Ike Jones's relationship was a groundbreaking and courageous union that defied the racial prejudices of their time. As a talented actress and a pioneering African-American film producer and director, their love story transcended societal norms and contributed to the gradual shift in attitudes towards interracial relationships. The challenges they faced, both publicly and personally, were emblematic of the broader struggles for civil rights and societal acceptance during the 1960s. Despite the adversity, Stevens and Jones persevered, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire and resonate with those who appreciate the transformative power of love. Their story serves as a testament to the strength of love and the potential for positive change, even in the face of adversity. Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe, an iconic figure in the entertainment industry during the mid-20th century, is often remembered for her glamour, talent, and tumultuous personal life. Beyond her cinematic achievements, Monroe's advocacy through relationships, particularly her alleged connections with African-American individuals, reveals a lesser-known dimension of her influence and impact on challenging racial norms in Hollywood. One of the most notable relationships that highlighted Monroe's advocacy for racial equality was her bond with the legendary jazz singer Ella Fitzgerald. In the 1950s, racial segregation was prevalent, and African-American artists faced discrimination in various aspects of their careers. At that time, Fitzgerald struggled to secure bookings at upscale venues due to her race. Monroe, recognizing the injustice, decided to use her influence to support Fitzgerald. In 1955, Monroe attended the Mocambo nightclub in Los Angeles, a popular venue known for hosting renowned artists. The club's owner was initially reluctant to book Fitzgerald, fearing that her performance might not attract a diverse audience. Seizing the opportunity, Monroe promised to attend every night if Fitzgerald was booked, thereby guaranteeing a high-profile presence and challenging the racial barriers that constrained African-American performers. Monroe's commitment to breaking racial barriers did not end with her support for Fitzgerald. Her advocacy extended to visiting African-American orphans and engaging with the community. In 1957, she attended a charity event organized by the City of Refuge, an African-American orphanage in Los Angeles. Monroe's presence at the event helped draw attention to the struggles faced by the orphanage and contributed to raising funds for its support. Monroe's involvement with African-American orphans highlighted her genuine concern for social issues and her willingness to use her fame to make a positive impact. At a time when racial segregation was deeply ingrained in American society, her actions challenged prevailing norms and reflected a commitment to equality. Monroe's potential role in challenging racial norms in Hollywood was not confined to her personal relationships, but also extended to her professional endeavors. Despite the prevalent racial bias in the industry, Monroe worked alongside African-American performers and artists. One notable example is her collaboration with Sammy Davis Jr., a talented entertainer who faced racism both on and off the stage. In 1954, Monroe and Davis Jr. starred together in the film There's No Business Like Show Business. Their on-screen partnership was groundbreaking as it defied racial norms and showcased a positive and integrated portrayal of relationships. At a time when interracial relationships were often taboo in Hollywood, Monroe's decision to work with Davis Jr. was a bold statement against racial discrimination. Monroe's advocacy through relationships also extended beyond the entertainment industry. She developed close friendships with prominent African-American figures, such as the baseball legend Joey DiMaggio and the civil rights activist Adam Clayton Powell Jr. These relationships demonstrated her commitment to breaking down racial barriers and fostering connections with individuals who were actively challenging the status quo. Marilyn Monroe's advocacy through relationships, particularly her alleged connections with African-American individuals, reveals a multifaceted aspect of her legacy. Her support for Ella Fitzgerald, visits to African-American orphanages, and collaborations with African-American artists underscore her commitment to challenging racial norms in Hollywood. Monroe's actions, both personal and professional, demonstrated a genuine desire for social change and equality, making her a unique and influential figure in the fight against racial discrimination during a pivotal period in American history. The Hollywood landscape during the period under scrutiny, mainly the 1950s, was marked by deep-rooted racial attitudes and stereotypes. The film industry, as a reflection of broader societal norms, was plagued by racial segregation and discriminatory practices. African-American actors faced limited opportunities, often relegated to stereotypical roles that perpetuated harmful racial tropes. The prevailing mindset perpetuated the notion that films featuring interracial relationships were commercially risky and potentially damaging to careers. Notable instances of resistance and advocacy within the entertainment industry did exist, though they were scarce. The era saw courageous individuals challenging the status quo. Marilyn Monroe's support for Ella Fitzgerald and her collaborations with African-American performers, such as Sammy Davis Jr., were groundbreaking acts of defiance against the racial norms in Hollywood. These instances highlighted the potential for change within the industry, showcasing that relationships and collaborations could transcend racial boundaries. However, such acts of resistance were not without consequences. Actors and actresses who chose to challenge societal norms in their personal lives often faced backlash, both professionally and personally. Studios were apprehensive about potential negative reactions from audiences, and those who dared to challenge racial taboos risked damaging their careers. The fear of alienating a predominantly conservative audience often led to self-censorship within the industry, limiting the representation of diverse relationships on screen. The impact on careers was profound, and the personal lives and relationships of Hollywood figures had significant implications. African-American actors were often typecast into roles that reinforced racial stereotypes, limiting their opportunities for diverse and nuanced characters. Even for white actors like Marilyn Monroe, who advocated for racial equality, the industry's resistance to change posed a risk to their professional standing. Studios were hesitant to embrace progressive narratives that challenged the prevailing racial attitudes of the time. The broader implications for actors and actresses who challenged societal norms in their romantic lives extended beyond the confines of Hollywood. Public perception played a crucial role in shaping careers, and those who engaged in interracial relationships were often subjected to scrutiny and prejudice. Interracial couples faced societal resistance, and the pressure to conform to traditional norms could result in career setbacks and personal hardships. Despite the challenges, the stories of resistance and advocacy during this period have left a lasting impact on Hollywood and the broader cultural landscape. The courage of individuals like Marilyn Monroe and their commitment to breaking down racial barriers paved the way for a more inclusive entertainment industry. While progress was slow, the seeds of change were sown during this era, influencing subsequent generations of actors, filmmakers, and audiences. Attitudes towards interracial relationships in the entertainment industry have evolved over time, reflecting broader societal changes. The civil rights movement of the 1960s and subsequent social and cultural shifts prompted a re-evaluation of racial norms in Hollywood. As the industry became more diverse and inclusive, narratives featuring interracial relationships became more prevalent. Contemporary Hollywood now embraces a broader range of stories that explore the complexities of human relationships, irrespective of racial or ethnic backgrounds. The Hollywood landscape of the 1950s was entrenched in racial attitudes and stereotypes, impacting the careers of actors and actresses who dared to challenge societal norms in their personal lives. The resistance and advocacy of individuals like Marilyn Monroe laid the groundwork for a more inclusive industry, ultimately contributing to the evolution of attitudes towards interracial relationships in Hollywood and beyond. The legacy of these stories serves as a testament to the transformative power of individuals who choose to confront injustice and push for progress within the realms of entertainment and culture. In the tapestry of Hollywood's past, the stories of Betty White, Kim Novak, Mae West, Inger Stevens, and Marilyn Monroe reveal both the courage to challenge societal norms and the enduring struggles faced by those who dared to love outside prescribed boundaries. Their narratives echo the evolving dynamics of love, race, and resilience in the annals of entertainment history.